Evil, fear, and darkness. I'm going to cover them inside and external. This commenter, by the way, has amazing hair. Shout out to your hair. I will be talking about what they're talking about, kind of, but I'm going to talk about actually what we should be talking about. Which, if you come to my page, I am the one that will always reframe spirituality to empower you, which is the opposite of fear. So it kind of shows that, why wouldn't I talk about that, right? Okay, anyway, let's get to it. Okay, so we're starting with evil. So evil inside is your feelings and how you feel about whatever you're seeing or just feeling all in your inside. Your external and what you see, like a person you think is evil or an energy that you think is evil, that is a thinking thing. So you're projecting it out. So it is outside. So when it's inside and you feel it, it is probably a trauma. It's either your trauma, the thing you're viewing's trauma, or it is a layered trauma, which means that it is maybe yours and your shadow is starting to show you things to get your attention so that you can start to unblock yourself with something. But it's very complex. But that is what evil comes from. Even if you look at ancient Sumerian texts, they talk about things that, people would think, oh, well, that's the beginning of people talking about. They talk about things that people would think it's that, and the translation to our knowledge of probably starting in medieval times, our thought processes and also the religion of the person who is translating it. They're like, oh, when they say this, it looks like when we say this. So that's not a true translation. That is just what would we say if we were in there. So it's not a true language translation. So when we get into that, when it's external stuff like human creations, if you read it in a book, if a human tells you, if you see it, that kind of stuff, those are that. And your truth is within. So even if you feel and something's evil, so like you feel fear and evil mixed together or whatever, your truth is what's going to tell you about that more. And the truth is your true, pure you. So in a sense, I guess people would say God or source. Or it would be you as in like the version of you that's the biggest until they get to source, right? And so that is the true, pure truth. So evil is never going to be pure because it's not the truth. It's not the pure truth. It's going to be, like I said, the inside or the outside. Now, remember, the inside is closer to being truth. So the feeling that you get. So if you feel disgust when you see something that you think is evil or society has said is evil, that disgust comes from something deeper. And it's what we're going to talk about with fear. So it's going to be like something missing, but we'll talk about that in a second. Now, pure is evil. They're probably thinking oldest or the biggest or whatever, but that would be truth. Anything pure is truth. And the truth is, again, your biggest energy or source or God or whoever you want to call their name, like everything, right? That would be pure. That's what pure means. And then the closer you get to being a human, you're less pure. But that's why people are mean about that word. So that's basically those two together is funny. Because inside, yeah, you're probably getting closer to a truth, which is the pureness. But outside, you're not going to be. It's just rearranging things like little puzzle pieces that you're putting together. It's never going to be the truth. It's just going to be some little things that you put together, which is not a bad thing. It's just that's what's happening. Now we're going to move on to fear. Fear is inside, again, going to be closer to the truth than the external. And the reason why I say this is because, like I said, inside is you and the source and stuff like that. So when you look inside at your fear and you're like, what, am I okay with not knowing what this means? Am I okay that I know there's more to the story, but am I okay with that? Or do I have access to finding out the other pieces? Is it easier for me to do that? And can I ask my internal guidance, which is you, your true you, how to find out more. That's what fear is. Whenever you feel afraid, what is it? What are you missing, right? And you need to choose between the two. You need to choose, am I actually able, is it going to improve my life to start looking at what's missing? Or was this just something random that came into my field for whatever reason and we need to like get rid of it, right? Or not get rid of it, but just like move on and like, to something else because it's not having to do with your life, right? But you can also be okay with not knowing. And that takes a lot of practice because if you see some horrible injustice in the world and you can't do anything about it, you're going to be sad because you're going to be like, okay, well, I can't do anything about it and I'm still afraid. So what you do is you do find out what you can do. So it might not be directly related, but what can you do as a person? What is your special energy? And usually that fear is that's why I said it's closer to the truth inside. It's actually closer to getting the truth. So you might actually see something horrible like a war happening and you're like, I can't actually do anything about it. Like me, my physical body, but my special energy and who I am and what I've learned as a human to express things. What is that similar to that I want from that? So for example, with war, you would want peace. You would want people to work well together and treat each other better and nice and not do horrible things to each other. So what do? You be the change. You start small. So when you interact with someone at the grocery store line, that's what you say to them. You treat them with what you want to be the change. Even though it's tiny, you think, you doing that is showing that you want that. It's like voting for how you want the world to be. So doing that, being the change of what you wish that would be, and acting like that in small ways, big ways, whatever you do in all your work, your interactions with people, that's actually going to change things. And you won't be fearful because you will be making your truth. You will be finding your truth. And you will understand that some things you won't be able to know. Like that, for example. I still don't get why there has to be war. I know logically why people are mad at each other, but I don't get it. So what I do is I be the change. What would I like them to do? And so I act that way, right? So that is how you deal with fear. That is what fear is. It's you feeling and sensing the missing parts of the puzzle. But we have traumas and experiences that disguise this and make us feel like, oh, I'm afraid. Okay, no, you're not afraid. You know, and you're sensing that there's something missing. Okay, done with fear. Now we're going to talk about darkness, which is my favorite because this is everything. So, darkness. Everyone will say things like, if it's not something like this, they'll say, oh, I was getting in touch with my darkness, or my dark side came out. And this is a word that is been incorrectly used because there's too much about the potential and our beginnings and our origin that has to do with darkness. So for us to use that word is in a fearful way without knowing the information, right? And saying evil as well. It's another way to say evil, but in a weird way. It's just like a catchphrase, right? And so, people have made the night creepy, or they say something creepy is going to happen in the night. Personally, I've had personal things that are way more scary than you can ever think of happen in the day. So that also is funny too. But anyway, so when you close your eyes and you go to sleep, are you afraid of the dark in your eyes? No, because that's you. You're going into you. You're going to every part of you. It's so big, right? And that's why sometimes it's dark when you close your eyes and then you can start to see little images and things like that because you're starting to sort through that and not be just seeing everything, right? You're seeing all at once. So that's what darkness is. It's your potential. So when people use darkness or are doing darkness, it means that they are going to their potential and using that in a wounded way. That's what evil and all those evil, darkness, and fear have in common. They're doing it without knowing the whole picture. They're using their traumas, and but it's still the potential. Darkness is the potential.